You see this, people? If you're pulling up to a shipper receiver and you see a truck in a dock, and that's the only dock that you see, don't pull in front of it and block the man. It just creates a whole nother situation. How you sometimes with a door, when it don't close right, the trailer sits cockeyed. Dry van or a reefer. When it does that, you just pull forward. You got to get on flat ground. These dry vans, these reefer trailers are kind of funny. If the door's not opening like it's supposed to, they're not closing like it's supposed to, the latch can get down below where it's supposed to hook into, that type of thing. It's probably sitting to one cockeyed one side to the other, or it's not on level ground somehow or another. You need to get on level ground and try it. Forgive me for my truck being a mess. I'm still in the process of getting it set back up again. These two things, among other things, are essential. If you pull a dry van, reefer, sometimes a tank, mainly dry van and reefer. That bolt cutter has saved me more time and effort. I think I paid $57 for it, and it's saved me more trouble that I know what to do with. This pry bar has also saved me. It's about a 4-foot pry bar. See how it's flat on the bottom right there? Once again, my trucks normally don't look like this. I'm still trying to get this thing set back up. I had a dry van door once when I opened it up. The dry van, the trailer apparently was older. When I opened the door dropped about an inch and a half, 2 inches. Well, naturally, I can't lift that door and latch it at the same time. So what I needed was a pry bar like this. They had to call, because I didn't have anything to lift it. I had driven flatbed for the majority of my career, for about 15 years, so I was not used to this. The guy come out there, he took the pry bar and lifted the door and was able to close it. So that little tool right there has saved me a couple times. I had a dump trailer one time. Had to open the door in the back. It was like a barn door. When I opened the door, the bolt had slipped out, and this door was very heavy. Well, I took this bar and see how it has the wide end to it right here. Instead of it being flat, it gives you more leverage. See how it's flat there at the bottom? Then it tapers up right there. I was able to take this bar and lift that door and close that door, where it would have cost me hours to get somebody out there to fix it if I didn't have it. this, along with a bunch of tools, just set essential stuff that you need to have on the road. Hey again. Wanted to point out, yes, I wear gloves. They're not fingerless gloves. They're copper fit. They do work. I had to have surgery, a second surgery, back in July on my wrist. So I had to go get a brace along with this copper fit glove. I do a lot of things with each hand. I do some things with my left, some things with my right. But I was having a lot of pain in my wrist from holding the steering wheel all these years. And it built up a bone spur. I had to have surgery and have that cut out. I had a major surgery back in June on my back. I had, just by the grace of God, I was in this truck. It happened to be going to Atlanta, which never ever happened unless I was going home. I live south of Atlanta. I live actually in the middle of the state of Georgia. And just happened to be taking a load down there. And I had been to my primary doctor about a lot of pain in my back. I've been having pain in my back for several years. And you know how stubborn guys are. Just not going to go. Not going. We're tough. I could work through it. I played ball most of my life. Football, baseball, ping pong, volleyball. I played a little bit of everything. So I was used to getting hurt and fighting through pain, walking it off, toughing it out. But this was a different level of pain. I had been fighting it for years, and it was to the point that I couldn't hardly walk. I could do just enough to pass my physicals every year, but it was to the point that I was having to watch. I'd have to park close enough so I'd have to walk. I couldn't walk that far. But going back to Atlanta, I happened to be going to Atlanta. I had been to my doctor. She had sent me to an orthopedic, who was the orthopedic surgeon that had done my mother's hip replacement surgery. God rest her soul. But I went to him. He checked me out, and we all was thinking it was probably gonna need a hip replacement. And had no idea what it really was. When I get to Atlanta, I deliver early, and I was supposed to deliver at 12 o'clock at lunchtime that day. I got there at like 2 in the morning. They went ahead and took it off. I was supposed to reload across from Atlanta by like 6 that evening. Well, I had done unloaded and reloaded before I was supposed to unload my first load that day. And they had done an MRI on my back. My orthopedic doctor calls me, and he's telling me to come down. He needs me to come down that day. I knew it was serious. So I make a beeline down there, and he takes me out of work. I had a pretty rare thing. I had about a 6-inch tumor that was inside my spinal cord, which I'd never heard of before. And in 30 years of practicing, he had never seen it ever. He had heard about it being rare, but he had never seen one. So I was out of work. He was afraid of what might happen to me. It could paralyze. It was in the beginning phases of paralyzing. I had weakness in my upper legs, and it was in the beginning phases. So it had to come out. So that was back in May, and that was right after I had lost my sister this year. I lost my sister back in January, actually February. She was in the hospital for 6 weeks, and I lost her. I lost her physically. I didn't lose her spiritually because she made it to heaven. So, I thank the good Lord for that. But that being said, I had the surgery back in June, and 15 weeks later, I'm back at work. It's a miracle. And I thank the good Lord in heaven for that. So, this is something else that'll help y'all out. See, this is a brand new trailer. So, when the doors are being difficult, I can't even pull this thing open. All it takes. Doing that. Then comes right up. Real simple. See? Real simple. See that yellow line? The reason I backed in with the doors closed is because that way I could see what I was backing into. A lot easier than with that door closed.
than I can with it open like that. The other side is actually a little bit wider. The door actually hangs out a little bit further than that. So what I do, I'm backing up, and you've seen probably a bunch of other videos. It's all in the setup. I try to get as close as I can to where I'm backing up to, and right about the time my fifth wheel gets even with that thing, and I hook it hard to whichever side I'm allowed or that I have open to. You see how I pulled all the way up close to this fence and pulled up as far as I could, and then backed up. I had to back. It was at an angle. Once I got back in, I pulled up, and then I backed up a second time to get it straightened up so I could back straight back up. So what I did is I opened up my doors, and I didn't have room to open up back there.